Welcome everyone to Live on Mars, the MarsBased podcast, where we talk innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. And this week we're talking metal. You heard it right. We're talking metal. We're talking music because this is a sector that not a lot of people talk about, and we're so used to talk about technology. We live in a bubble. The tech people will live in a bubble. We don't care about what's going on in the rest of the world. But at MarsBased, we do care. There are other sectors that are increasingly adopting new technologies. They're doing a lot of innovation, some of them forced because of whatever situation, maybe a pandemic or maybe a change in the economic systems and whatnot. And the metal, or let's say the music landscape, it's often overlooked by all of these business podcasts because it looks like it's not a business, but it is a business. And tonight we've got here a very, very, very special, friend here. We've got Julien Truchan from the band Benighted. He's one of the co-founders of Benighted. Welcome to the show, Julien. How are you doing?
Hey, Brady. I'm fine. I'm fine. Staying at home, waiting. I'm actually on holidays, so I was supposed to be touring, but as everything is canceled because of COVID, I just enjoy my free time.
Just a little bit to give an introduction to the rest of the people. You are part of I don't know how you would describe it, like brutal death metal / grindcore. It's difficult to describe yourselves. What would be the subgenre that you play?
Most of the time, people say brutal death grind. It works pretty well. I think it's the main influence of musically talking for the band.
Let me play 10 to 15 seconds one of your songs so that the audience can hear what is this all about. Let's do it. Let's rock. All right. I don't know if you heard it, because that's the thing with the streaming. Maybe I only heard it, but I was like, oh, dude, I need to play this song, all of it. It's called Versipellis, right? Talk a little bit about that song. Talk a little bit about your influences as a musician. Then we'll go into the business part.
Well, Versipellis is taken from our album Necrobreed. I think it was the album just before the last one that we released this year. And Versipellis, it's a Latin word to express someone who take his skin off and take another one, change his skin. And in the concept of the album Necrobreed, it was about some schizophrenic guy stitching some animal skin to his to become one.
Because there's actually another song that's a doppelganger, which is a similar concept. It's the same. It's a German word for somebody who changes shape shifts. You got Leatherface, you got Reptilian. So it seems like you've got a lot of songs in that concept. How, like, when was the first year, like when were you created as a band, and give a little bit of the story of the not the company, sorry, the band.
Sure. Well, we started in 1998, and at first it was only some kind of college band. We started just for fun, playing extreme metal, and after the first album we recorded, we immediately were signed on a label, so which was a huge opportunity because I think we were 18 or something at this time, and 22 years later we released something like 9 studio albums and 1 live album, 1 EP, and we toured almost everywhere around the world. So we are very lucky to see a lot of things and meet a lot of people and enjoy many shows. That's why the situation now is even more frustrating, but we have a new album since April, and that because of Corona, we cannot promote it on stage, and that's a huge frustration to end up with.
Actually, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. The music industry has been reinventing itself a lot, and some of the times it's based because of the crisis, right? So you guys were around in 2008 when we had this brutal economic crisis worldwide, right? And it was more or less a time when people started paying for Spotify, right? We always had been using like peer-to-peer exchange files. Some bands liked it, some bands didn't. It helped to spread the industry, but of course, like, it affected the economy of the distributors, the labels, and even the bands themselves. So Whereas before you used to make more money out of CDs and records. After that situation, not so much, but there's other merits. It's more like comes from touring, right? How did you leave that as a band? Like, do you remember 2008, 2009? What changes when? How that affected your business as a band?
Of course, when you want to sell CDs and that a label trusts you to sell as much CDs to give you good money to record album, to spend time in studio and all that stuff, it's all a circle, and it works in circles. So the more you sell CDs, the more the label is happy, and the more it gives you money to do good products. And after the crisis, of course, the sales of CDs were very down, and the only way we had to make money at this period was already to tour as much as we could, to sell merch, to receive some money from the concert. And fortunately in metal, we have the luck that the fans are very loyal and dedicated fans, and that wearing band shirt is something very important for a metalhead. So we are lucky that it's an industry that keeps going very well, and that people comes to you to buy some merch when you're playing. And for now, I would say that's the main way to make money that we've got as a band.
But however, most people in bands, unless they are really, really big, like let's say Machine Head, for instance, right? One of our favorite bands. I know you're also into them, right? You cover one of their songs. You cover Ten Tom Hammer, right? Old, I think it was.
Old, yeah.
Old, yeah. And once you reach that stage, you can live off only of the profits of the band, right? And even it's still difficult for them because maybe they need to do a tour. They go on tour for 1-2 years, then they make sufficient money to live off 3 years in which they're supposed to record new stuff, to take a break, to kind of like enjoy time with their families, because after 1, 2, 3 years in the road, sometimes, you got to make enough economic cushion to sustain yourself for a while. But it's not yet your case, right? So you guys keep your side jobs, and when does it usually reach that point in which you can live off the profits of the band? Like, how many bands do you know on average that they only live off the band money?
Well, actually, I don't know much. Even the big death metal bands, it's very difficult for them. Actually, in Benighted, maybe it's a bit special because all the money that we got from the shows and the merch is for the band, and we don't take any salary from Benighted. So, for example, not playing is not affecting our quality of living. Because, for example, I'm a nurse, I work at full time, and all my holidays are for Benighted, and sometimes I also take days off without being paid from from the hospital, but I don't take money from Benighted to replace that. It's just, I really love to tour. It's my passion, and I'm not feeling bad losing a bit of money to be able to live this passion, because the band makes enough money that touring has no cost for us, which is already very good for an extreme metal band. Because, for example, touring to going on tour to the US, it's some kind of investment, like $10,000 or something. So you have to be very, very prepared to have this kind of money for the band if you want to live that kind of experience. Of course, you can have it back if you sell good, if the shows are successful. But if you, for example, all the money you invest just to get the work license for the US, the visa to work, you can invest a lot of money, hire a lawyer and everything, but they can just say, no, denied. And all this money is just lost. So if you, ordered merch in the US or already gave some money in advance to rent a nightliner or something, everything is lost. So it's pretty dangerous financially talking, and that's good to have a bit of backup in money to be able to compensate that in case it happens.
So you're not taking a salary, because I assume all of the members of the band are partners of the band. Like, how did you create that? Because some bands have got their full-time members, but they have some, kind of like guest or touring musicians that you got to pay them for a tour or just to record a couple albums with you, things like that. How's your model?
Actually, we just have only Kevin, the drummer, because it's his job. So he's the only one he's the only one getting paid in Benighted for the shows. All the other ones, we just handle it with our regular jobs, and it works fine. Of course, it takes a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice, but at least, when I meet a crisis like this, like the pandemic, it doesn't affect my quality of life financially talking, and I'm very happy about that, because I remember how many people told me, maybe you should do Benighted your full-time job, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. My life depends on Benighted. Benighted is my passion. It's not at the same level, and I don't want to earn any money from Benighted. And today, when I look backwards, I'm like, I think that was a good decision to make, because I'm pretty safe now. I'm lucky about it.
Oh my God. Like when I hear to your CDs, it's like, I understand why you pay the drummer, because after playing at that speed, like he will destroy his knees and his elbows and his joints in 5 years. Like, I don't think this is sustainable over time. But jokes aside, it's very important that you took this commitment, because otherwise, when the bad times come, at least you're not affected, right? I've heard some news that some of the bands, some of my favorite bands, Mastodon, I read it, that they are collecting unemployment money in the US, because they're like, we cannot tour, we make this big commitment, like they had some things going on, and all the plans went to hell because of the pandemic, right? How did it affect you, like right now, this crisis? Let's get into it. Let's get into the business model of kind of like the industry, or how's it working with you? So you had to cancel a ton of shows. We were expecting to meet in Norway in the Inferno Metal Festival.
Yeah, I would have loved that. But yeah, for this year, especially because we released an album in April this year. So definitely the best way to promote an album is not to release it during a pandemic.
No.
We had to cancel 52 shows this year. So we
Wow.
played only 2 shows in 2020. And of course, there's a lot of investment. For example, I ordered a lot of merch for the tours. And I have for several thousands of euros of merch at home, waiting for being sold. Fortunately, our fans were very, very helpful and ordered a lot when it was difficult that we couldn't do. But I still have a lot of stuff that I should sell touring and not just waiting in my fucking house.
You got a room full of that, I assume, right?
Actually, I have a full cabin of that. Yeah, I have a cabin dedicated to the Benighted merch, and everything is in there.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Like, it reminds me, in our company, in MarsBased, we have no office, right? Which is really good if you want to work remotely, but it's really bad when you want to keep stuff, right? And we have some merch as well that we give to our employees, to our clients. And I've got that in a room. One room of my house is only MarsBased stuff. So I feel your pain. But how about, like, in terms of, finance, as you said, like, you're not spending money if you're not touring, but at least you gotta, I'm pretty sure you gotta pay for some things, right? Because maybe it's like the production of the album. I don't know how that works. So maybe you kind of like pay it off, but you pay up front, or you pay it afterwards, recovering a little bit with the sales. What other promotion, merch, like all of those things? How isn't that affected by the pandemic as well?
Of course, it was affected by that. But the thing is that we get from the albums, we get the royalties paid by the label.
Yeah.
We got our money, like like offers or musicians. But when you have the rights, for the lyrics or for the music, you get paid, of course. But that's all. That's just what. So for now, we try to invest in some other ways to promote Benighted, because for now we cannot promote it by touring. But we are lucky that so far it doesn't cost a lot. But we try to keep some things to have updates and new things to bring up to our fans, considering of course that it's not live stuff. It's not shows.
And one of the things that might change, because you released the album like when it was, it was starting to hit, right, in the beginning of this year, right? But I heard from a couple of musicians. I remember one of them was Matt from Trivium saying that maybe from now on, because you don't need to compile 15 to 20 songs, something like that, in an album, because now you live off the streaming, not so much album sales. So maybe it makes more sense to launch shorter albums or release songs more often, and that's it. And maybe the traditional format of the CD doesn't really make sense anymore. What do you think about it? This is something you are going to explore with Benighted?
Actually, we already tried it this year. I mean, I'm an old school guy, so of course I'm very sad about full albums to disappear, because it's
Yeah.
the culture of my youth, and you know, having this this subject, this product in my hand. I remember how passionate I was to receive an album from a band I was waiting for 1 or 2 years, for example. And when you receive it, you dissect everything, you know, the booklet, every song, the title, the lyrics, and all this side totally disappeared now, because the songs that we released are just one more product that maybe some people will have the luck to see live or not. It doesn't have the same meaning for me, and of course I feel sad about it. But we tried this year to make 2 singles. For example, the first one we released it in August, because we have a venue in Lyon, close where I live, and the owners are very good friends of us, very great fans from Benighted, and people that we know for, I don't know, at least 20 years. And they're in very deep financial difficulties. That's why we decided to write a single song and put it on Bandcamp, make a video for that so people can hear it, discover it, and then ask people to download it on Bandcamp and give money to support our friends from this venue and help them financially talking. We are now working on another project, which will be out for Halloween normally, because we wanted
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, but actually it's supposed to be, but you know, always scary, but at the second degree.
Okay, tell me more about that. I didn't get it. What do you mean there?
The thing is that we wanted to celebrate some party, and Christmas was a bit too far, and we said, hey, Halloween, as it's a horror, you know, culture and everything, we should release a new song for Halloween. So we took the full concept, and we take it very, very, very deep, because we kind of raped the Halloween movie theme for this track. You will see, and we made also a new shirt, a new shirt design, talking about Halloween, and at the same time about Obscene Repressed, our last album. So on Halloween, both will be released at the same time. So you will see and you will listen to it if you want.
It's a grind version of Nightmare Before Christmas. This is Halloween, the song.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That are you dropping an exclusive here? This is some news, or?
I think so, because I don't think we told anyone so far. So you're the first one.
Oh my god! Well, it's going to be out in a couple weeks, so perfect timing for Halloween. Let me just schedule this for Halloween, because that would be fantastic. Oh my god! So thank you for the exclusive. I think it's the first time we got an exclusive in the show. So, what other things have you tried? Actually, I was going to ask, because we've seen bands, you know, Trivium were one of the first. You know, they're huge on gaming, and they were on Twitch way before this, right? So they're streaming shows, but they were actually, I think, they were probably one of the first bands to do a paid show live streamed with a focused production, and a very specific set of, you know, techniques and all of that. It was really good. It was like $10, so maybe it's way cheaper than a concert for us. But because instead of having 4,000 people in a city, they can have 30,000 people online, or 60,000, or I don't know what their audience is, right? Is this something that you guys are also working on, or what other innovations are you looking to get?
Well, for now, we are more focused on making audio music, because I personally have some. I'm not a huge fan of live stream so far, even if maybe it will become the only thing that we can get in the following years. But I'm pretty sure Benighted won't be a part of it, because I prefer releasing very cool music video, you know, with a concept, with actors and everything that has a meaning, and more looks like a movie. But live stream show, for me, it's not. I don't see myself playing a whole whole show in front of cameras and everything. So if other bands like it, I understand that, but I don't. I told recently something that I think was taken pretty bad by some people. I told on an interview that for me, live stream was the how did I say that? Live stream for me, it was a bit like watching porn when you can't have a proper sexual relationship yourself, you know.
Yeah.
It compare the shows and the live stream, for me, it's like watching porn instead of having sex yourself.
But it helps with the distance because you guys are in France and we're in Barcelona, so there's distance. You know, it's kind of it's where we can't have the real thing yet, and there's a lot of restrictions. I'm pretty sure we will be able to enjoy your concert sometime sooner than later, I expect. But have you got any idea? What's your suspicion as to when we'll be able to get back to concerts?
Well, next year normally it's September. We should end of September we should have a very big tour, and it will be in Spain as well. So
nice.
Let's hope that COVID will be behind us at this moment and that we can tour normally. And so I will be very happy to see you and party with you, buddy.
And one of the things that, you know, you mentioned something. Let's talk a little bit, circling back to what you said about raising funds for this place in Lyon, right? That's something that we've seen a lot. And traditionally, music has been a great way, or artists, just because you've got the exposure. Maybe you're not a celebrity like Mariah Carey, but you're well known in the industry, right? Your band has been around for, you said it, 20 years, and who doesn't know Benighted, right? If you don't know Benighted, but you're into like brutal death metal or grind and all that, you know the guys, you know the French guys with Julien, who walks on stage always barefoot, plays his concerts barefoot. I don't know for what reason, but maybe you guys have got an exposure level and a fan base. So maybe you can do this little project. Maybe music could be could be used as a leverage to raise funds for certain causes, right? Which in turn, it's part of your marketing, because maybe you reach new people. They're like, oh, these guys are cool. Maybe I don't like their music that much, or it can grow on me, but they did this cool thing. They helped one of my favorite venues. So what other things are you doing in investing in marketing? Is there something you're doing to increase your brand in any creative ways?
Well, for now, we didn't figure it out because we just thought about our friends who were in financial difficulties. Of course, if we have other people who need our help for any cause that we find good to support, of course, we will do what we need, especially also because we all have our jobs. So we don't, Benighted doesn't need money at this time.
Yeah, you're right.
Personally talking, not the band, but the guys playing in the band, we have money from a regular job, so we are not in danger. So if we can help anyone with Benighted, of course we will do it, because it's a good way to support people who sometimes work very, very hard, but in the dark side. For example, the guys from the venue we helped, I know they spent so many hours and so much money in this venue in Lyon, which is just now the perfect venue for extreme metal bands to play, because it's very difficult. You know, you have very, very small clubs or very big venues, and it's the perfect average size for all extreme metal bands to play in. So
right.
I know these guys they don't do it for money, because they are dedicated person, and they do really everything with a heart and with passion. And this kind of guys, for me, that's exactly the kind of people we want to help with the name of Benighted, if it's possible.
But while on the one side, it's good that you guys are not under the pressure of having to generate money. That means that money is never, you know, a driving decision in what you do, and it keeps the music more true at heart, right? But maybe because you're not desperate, your creativity is not ignited, right? A lot of people, it's like, you know, when there's hunger, you get more creative, right? So how do you balance these things? Why do you think like this is on? Yeah.
You see, being creative, and I don't know how to say that in a good way, but the thing is that between being creative and try to sell a bit your soul because you desperately want to make money are two different things for me. And I'm happy I'm on the first part of it. Of course, if people find very cool ideas that I find authentic, because I told you I'm an old school guy, and I really support things that comes in an authentic way and not only for making money. I have no idea for now what new we could do to keep this thing interesting and like helping people and makes our fans happy at the same time. We will think about it, but for now we have no clue about it. We just make what we know. That's mean we make music, and but for now, the only way that we realize ourselves, it's to make new songs for now, and we will see in a few weeks if we can do something else, if some idea comes up, and we'll see how we can make it work.
How about, because one of the things I was wondering, right? I'm a huge fan of concerts, as you know, and I like it when, you know, there's two types of bands. There's the bands like, you know, maybe it's more like complex stuff, or they always play the same fucking set list for the tour. Like you take one tour as like night after night, they play exactly the same set list because they want to nail it. They're perfectionists. Maybe they got a contract, or like a, you know, the labels tell them like, you got to play this many songs from this album, this many songs, blah, 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 whatever. And there are other bands who they don't give a fuck, or maybe they're more creative about it, right? And they shuffle the things, and then like they play a cover here, and then they play another version of this song they never released. They like to mix it up a little bit. I'm thinking this, maybe it's more usual in the punk industry, but even Metallica like to kind of like change the set list from concert to concert. And sometimes in the latest gigs, they've been playing one song from each city they're going to. They play like one local song, which is incredible, right? But how about like professionalizing a little bit more the bootleg industry, right? Because we as fans, we used to record and exchange the bootlegs, because they oftentimes they give like that version of this song, or an unreleased song. You never released that song on CD, but you used to play it on stage, or this intro was different on stage, or you used to play this cover song in concert, right? But never in CD. So is this something that you see? Maybe it's a viable thing?
Well, I think it's actually a very good idea from what you say, because if you know that every show is kind of unique, it makes it even more special. So I think, yeah, that's a very good idea. The way we work, as we only very far one from the others in Benighted, is that we all agree on a set list, and when we're on tour, we play exactly the same set list every night. We don't leave space for improvisation, for example, to put another track if we didn't work on it before, because we like things to get very well done. But actually, it would be very, very interesting to think about a special thing every night, maybe for a song, or maybe for something happening on stage, or I don't know. But that's something that could be very interesting. And, you know, I think that maybe keeping the same set list, but making something special on stage, for example, you know, like jokes between musicians, like we love to do. For example, when we tour with Aborted, we always love to give each other a hard time, you know, by making jokes on stage and put the other ones in a bad situation. So that's the kind of things that you keep in your mind after a tour, or even when you go to a show and you see something very stupid happening on stage, and you say, what the fuck are they doing? Why these other musicians come on stage with us, and why do they do this thing together? That's the thing that you remember of a unique show, and you feel lucky to have been there and enjoy this, because you know that it won't happen anywhere else. So maybe that's a very good idea to work on. Yeah,
you feel more special as a you know, as a person of the audience. I mean, I remember, like, don't blame me, I used to listen to power metal, so there was I remember going to a Stratovarius concert. They came out in FC Barcelona shirts, and they played the Catalan national anthem on the keyboards. I was like, you know, they're not going to do this in Madrid, right? So it felt really special. It was like, wow, I felt so lucky to have been here. Or when Creator played The Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden, only in Barcelona, right? I was like, wow, that's amazing. Or for instance, because, you know, you're going to do fewer shows for a while until we get back to touring. We're going to do fewer shows, right? So maybe instead of having one show every night for 6 months, which would be, I don't know, I'm not good at math. Let's put like 150 shows in 6 months, right? Maybe you do once per week, once every 2 weeks on streaming. And then, you know, for Halloween, you can dress up as the guys in the Nightmare Before Christmas, or as the Misfits, right? I saw that at a concert. It was really good, right? Do you also like, what other kinds of creativity can you guys do on stage? You mentioned like you do jokes, right? But like, well, on stage, if you have a fixed set, where can you improvise actually? So you don't have any sort of improvisation if things go wrong. one of the guys forgets the intro to a song or something. What do you guys do in that case?
Well, normally, fortunately, it never happens.
Okay, great.
but
You've never been too drunk to forget about the songs, right?
Wow, it happened, but we always find a way to fall our feet, So
Okay.
at the end, normally it works. Well, I have no idea.
And the people in the audience usually are drunker than you, so we don't care.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's always that the things that I share with the crowd, for me, the things that I share with the crowd at the instant is the thing that makes it special. Because if the songs are the same, what I share with the crowd is always very personal with the people I see in the crowd, because most of the time I know some people in the crowd and I see some people reacting a lot, so the connection is made between us. I look at them, I know that I see them, and what happens between us is what, for me, makes it very special at this moment. Because if I'm on stage, the main reason I'm on stage is to share what I've got with the people who are here. And even if it's nothing special that could be, for example, recorded, the feeling what we've got, this emotional experience I've got with the people who are in the crowd, I think at every time is very unique, and that's also the things that keeps me motivated. And after 22 years of touring, that keeps me motivated and wants to tour even more. It's meet new people and see my old friends and enjoy every night in a very special way that makes it unique.
That's a really good point. I was going to ask about stage presence, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to talk in public, or maybe how to act. Let's put it like, to give us like an analogy between your sector and my sector, right? We talk in conferences. Sometimes we go on stage and there's like, I don't know, 100 people in the audience. Maybe it's 1,000. If you go to big conference like Web Summit, you might even have like 35,000 people in front of you, right? But that's something you acquire, right? One of the reasons why you're here, and it's because I got to meet you, right? I think it was in Vienna, right? In Vienna, in the Metal Vienna Festival, something like that. It was really cool. Yeah, usually we think musicians are people you don't hang out with, whereas we have a common friend, and we're like, okay, let's have some beers. Introduce to each other. We talked. It's like, wow, these guys are so down to earth. And then hours afterwards, you guys were playing the concert, and you were looking at us, you were interacting with us, maybe with everybody else in the audience, but also because, your friends were there. It was good. Yeah. So after touring for so many years, maybe, is that something that you would recommend to people? What secrets have you got to have a good interaction with the audience?
Well, I think that's a part of my personality before everything. The thing you have to know is that I've been for 70 years a rugby player.
Wow, and I can tell by the complexity.
but that's exactly the same spirit we've got in this sport that we have in med. But at least what I defend is that we have the violence
during the game.
Was very kept in a code, like for music, for the concerts, and on the field with the rugby. But all the people who are here to have a good time, to enjoy a good time together, and there is only positive feelings, positive emotions. It's a very familiar atmosphere, and after the concert, even if you fought very hard with someone, you can drink a beer with him and laugh about who was the first to punch the other and all that stuff. And that's something that I really love, and I love to share things with people very simply, as an actor, as a singer on stage and as a player on the field, but also as a fan of all the atmosphere that exists in this scene.
Which is, I totally get the thing about the rugby, right? Rugby players, that they beat the shit out of each other in the field, but after the game, they go and have drinks together with the opposing team, right?
It's
and which is funny, because I was, for people who might be reading the song titles of Benighted right now, they'll be like, this guy is a nurse, but he's got songs like, experience your flesh, carnivore sublime, let the blood spill between my broken teeth, slaughter suicide, things like that. It's like, wow, that's a little bit intense, right? Of course, you wouldn't be playing acoustic sets for charity, right? That's something you have ruled out.
Oh yeah, especially if I have to sing with clean vocals.
would be innovation. That would be definitely innovation. Let's talk a little bit about the technology in the bands. I mean, we've talked enough about like economics, but how do you guys? I mean, I take it that part of it is the label, but they're bands who self-produce, right? They produce themselves, and so how do you deal with it? What technology is involved in running a metal band today?
Well, we have, of course, for the albums, we have the label who's handling almost everything in the production. They pay for everything, considering the albums. And for the booking, we have two bookers. We have one only for France, because he has all the connection with the promoters in France. And we have one international booker, who actually lives in Vienna, in Austria.
All right.
Yeah, and works for Redback Promotion, and he's handling all the international part of the booking. So yeah, I will say that it's like how can I call it? It's like a giant network where a lot of actors are playing around Benighted and helping the band develop everything. For example, for the merch, I work with several great designers, and they help us also improve the quality of the visuals for Benighted, because they know the band. We become friends pretty quick. I mean, as it's not my job, I love to work with people that I can trust. People that I feel have the same kind of thinking I've got, and have this passionate side of the work. So yeah, I would say that all around Benighted, you have many companies or guys who work hard to make it bigger and more professional, and with better designs, for example, to promote for the band and make the fans happy.
Dude, your designs are sick. Like, they're sick in the sense that they are sick, like mentally sick, but they're sick as in really fucking good. Like, they're one of my favorite designs in the industry. But how about social media, for instance, right? That also requires technology. And I know you guys are on Twitter, maybe not super active on social media, but who does it? Like, is this something you hire somebody to do it? There's somebody in the band specifically, or you all share the same logins? And how do you do it?
Actually, it's only, for example, for all the social medias, it's our bassist Pierre and our guitarist Fabien who take care of it.
Great.
So we all have separated jobs for the band in Benighted, so everything is very clear, because on Messenger, if you have 5 guys who are possibly able to answer, at the end no one's answer, because everyone will think that the other one will do that, and blah blah blah. So everything is very clear. Pierre, our bassist, answers Instagram. Fabien is answering Facebook, Messenger, and Twitter also. So everything is very clear. If he needs something from me, for example, he just contacted me and said, "Julien, can you answer directly? Because I guess it's a question for you," and it works very well like that.
Because you said you're old school. You're not very active on social media.
No, I'm active on my Facebook page and my Instagram page most, but I would say that's all. For example, Twitch. That's the first time that's the first time I hear that, and I'm definitely not very good at it, and I know only few about all the new social medias, really.
How about, like, how do you know? That's one question I have for pretty much every band. How do you know how big your audience is? Like, is there any way you can sort of know? Like, radio stations, they have maybe their means, but they also like, oh, we've got 7 million listeners, right? How do you know it as a band?
I have no idea. The only thing sometimes that I got, for example, is the Spotify French metal band, results, the listenings. Yeah. And I was very surprised to realize that in all kind of metals, there was, of course, at first Gojira. Second were what's their name?
I know a few, but they're probably smaller than that. Like, it could be like Pluto's Nord, things like that. But I don't know.
Rise of the North Star. Rise of the North Star. Rise of the North Star. And we are number 3. So for me, it was a huge surprise, because we are very, very extreme. We are not very easy to listen to, and being number 3 in the whole French scene for us, it's a huge thing.
That congratulations. So Spotify is what you would use to kind of like calculate audiences, because I guess it gives you analytics and things like that, right?
It's just an example. I have no idea. I couldn't tell how many people are following us, because it's always hard to tell, because what you see on the internet is not always the truth. But the only thing that I can say is, for example, we never did. I will never understand this thing to buy some likes or to buy some views on YouTube and this kind of thing. That's something that, as an old school guy, I will never agree with, because for me it's really cheating and bluffing, and it's really not in my spirit, and I really don't like that. When bands do that, I really don't like that.
And it's not organic. It's not true, right? So
no. It's only bluffing about the size of your band. But I prefer having, like 1,000 people following us and reacting on us, and that I can interact with. But having, for example, 10 millions, and you only have 100 people who actually are interested in your bands, but the numbers shows that you have 1 million views or 1 million followers, or what can I say? And you can easily see that the reactions are way lower, but the amount of followers. So it's easy to see when someone is cheating or not.
Yeah. Also, I mean, from a business standpoint, if you don't know where your users are, you don't know where to place your bets, right? If you knew that most of our users come from the website or from Spotify, you would invest in that. You would just maybe create more content or curate it better, or like be more interactive with the people there than say fucking Instagram doesn't give us any listeners or any people, because we know it, but you don't know it. Therefore, it must be really hard. You're stepping in the dark all the time, right? So is there any action that you've done? Like maybe, I don't know, we put this section on the website, worked really well, or is there any action beyond putting out albums that has worked really well for you guys in terms of growing your fan base?
No. I'm pretty ignorant in that, and to be honest, I'm not really interested in that. I prefer seeing the amount of people coming to the shows increase. But that's what I love to see. But people following us at distance, I mean, it's easy to find us anywhere, and I don't work on making us bigger by ways I barely know. That's most the job of a label, for example. They can advise me if I want, for example, for a track to have a larger exposure. They will tell me, nowadays this works, so we'll do it this way, and this way. But I don't have the knowledge for that.
And speaking about the label, maybe that's a piece. Maybe it's something you cannot disclose, but I take it that you've got certain commitments to the label, because you said they pay for the production. You sign a contract for this many albums, they pay for the production of the albums, but then they want something in return, which is record sales, right? Obviously, record sales are going to be shit this year. Maybe, right? Are they cognizant of this fact? Are they actually adapting the metrics or the results you've got to give them because of this pandemic? Are they more flexible about them, or they say like, you got to sell all the same, just be creative and fucking sell albums?
Well, which is funny is that actually that with this album we sold more because I have no idea. I think people have more time to stay at home, and so they need some stuff to entertain them staying at home. So they bought the new album. Especially our new album is pretty funny. I don't know if you saw this stupid gadget inside. When you open the digipack, you have my pig squeal jumping to your face like a birthday card. We had
I don't buy CDs. I don't buy CDs anymore.
Yeah,
I gave up.
It's a very funny thing that works very, very well, because we wanted to find something very special and very benighted, so at the same time brutal but stupid. So it has to be both. And we had this idea. We were totally drunk at some party. I think it was in Marseille with the Season of Mist guys. And we said, hey, we should do this, this small box. When you turn it upside down, you have the sound of a cow, like brrr. And we thought that would be amazing to do that, a benighted customized one. And when you turn it, it does the, my picture.
It's a great idea, best idea ever if you're drunk.
It's stupid, it's useless, so it will work.
But then you sobered up, and then what happened? Like, did you actually do it? Redo it?
Actually, the box was too complicated to build because the core screen it's something physical happening in the box. It's not electronic. So we thought, okay, we have a plan B for that. Let's do like a birthday card. I mean, when the guys open the digipack to pick up the CD, it makes a huge sound, like you have a big screen jumping to your face, and people started to make a lot of videos and jokes.
That went viral, right? Oh my God, that's really
scaring their kids or their animal with this big screen, or even using that as an instrument. I mean, I saw some bands, rehearsing, and at some breaks, just opening the box for and boom, starting playing again. It was a very stupid idea, but it worked very, very well.
Oh my God, which makes me think that the main reason why I stopped buying CDs, it's not because Spotify came around. I love having CDs, and I love having the booklets, and some bands, like for instance Pink Floyd or AFI, they just like have some, how you call it, like some hidden stories that in order to connect like the new release of the new CD, you got to go back to the old CD, find this story, like find these numbers, see them there, things like that, listen to a hidden track and whatever, and then you will find out the name of the next album, right? So, but the main reason why I stopped buying them is because CDs are perishable. After 20 years, they don't work, right? Which is fucking stupid. But I buy a lot of merch, like whatever I don't spend on CDs, I buy t-shirts in every concert, I buy box sets just because they come with drumsticks or like guitar picks or something like that. So is this something that we can expect also from Benighted or from the industry in general, to produce more merch and fewer CDs, because CDs fucking die?
Yeah, I think so. For example, I don't know, we thought about making something very stupid again, some puzzles. I love the results.
French people with puzzles. All my French friends love puzzles. Why?
Really? I have no idea. Maybe it's some psychological work that we enjoy we really enjoy, thinking this way and try to solve it. It's very relaxing at the same time. But as for example, lots of people like flags or posters or something. And I thought, make a puzzle, for example. It's that you have to build it, so it's a funny moment, and at the end you can put it on your wall as well, because I really love the artworks that the designer we're working in are doing for us. And I thought making a poster, it can be cool, but making a puzzle can be very good as well, because you have all the process to build it before having it on your wall. And it's some kind of object that doesn't have anything to deal with music, just with the visual of the band. But I am sure it would work perfectly.
They last longer, actually, because if you buy, like, sometimes you buy all these flags and they kind of like die out because of the sun and whatever. So I mean, totally to that point. Yesterday I learned that Machine Head had put out some face masks, and I went to the website. I bought face masks, and while I was at it, I bought 10 other things, just because we want to consume stuff. We want to help them, right? We want to help the bands. We want to buy more merch. So maybe investing more in merch now, it's a good idea. People buy t-shirts last for what, 5 years? If you're into metal, they last for 30 years or 40 years, right?
And they end up gray, but it works anyway.
Especially Megadeth ones. Megadeth ones are always great. But I don't know what, we used to buy CDs that we would only play until the next CD came out, right? So maybe we could invest more in things that are long-term. We want to wrap this up because we're already approaching the 1 hour mark, and a couple questions just to finish this, right? One of them is, we like for our speakers to share the biggest fuck up they've ever done. What's the biggest fuck up you've ever done at Benighted? And if you can also quantify how much money you squandered in it.
Fuck up, you mean investment that failed?
Yes, something that went really wrong, an experiment that went really wrong, something you didn't prepare for and it failed, or
but you mean financially talking, for example? It's not me falling on stage, for example.
Well, I mean, I assume that happens quite a lot if you're barefoot, right, and drunk singing on stage. No, it's more like a big conceptual thing. Maybe let's like more like business stuff, or we booked with the wrong label. We were ripped off by an Asian, something like that.
Well, we are lucky that nothing like that happened. I'm thinking about it, but
something about marketing that didn't work, or playing an offensive song somewhere.
No. The funny thing is that, for example, when we were touring in the US, I made some Benighted leggings, like overall leggings from the album Necrobreed, and I think there was a mistake somewhere, but I received only small and extra small. So
yeah, not for the US.
Yeah, and the thing is that when I think I got them in Los Angeles for the show in Los Angeles, and when I saw the size, I was like, oh my God, we are I don't know, like 100 of leggings, and I say, okay, we'll maybe sell 4 of these, and we will see. But I was very surprised for the very last evening. Some pretty large girls arrived. And I said, hey, I want the leggings. Yeah, but I have to warn you, it's small size. And she took it and she was like, it will work. Okay. Then she went to the toilets to try it. She came back and it was really, really, I don't know how to say, but ready to explode, I guess. She said, I love it. It fits me perfectly. I take it. I'm like, okay.
Can you buy? I'll give you 90 more if you need them, right? For the same price.
But we sold almost everything because people didn't care about the size. So they said it's stretchable, so it should work. It's no problem. And I was very disappointed at the first time, but very happy at the end.
All right. And what's been your worst day as a musician or as an artist? What's been your worst day? Something you want to share? Some like
worst day. I think the worst day for me, personally talking, it was not on tour. It was when Olivier, my best friend and co-founders of Benighted, told me that he wanted to quit because he was too tired because of the infernal rhythm we had in the band. And I think we were at school together. We know each other since we are 10, and we started Benighted a bit like a joke, between young teenagers, and it becomes so big at some point that with our regular jobs, touring all the weekends, taking very long holidays to be able to tour, he got very tired of that, and I wasn't expecting being able to continue Benighted without him someday. So when he announced us after a show in Sweden, I think it was at the airport, hey guys, I have something to tell you. I want to quit the band because I'm too tired and I can't follow anymore. I felt really like the ground was opening under my feet, and I was like, what the fuck will I do? Because I couldn't imagine myself continue without him in the band. And we were just about to release Necrobreed, so we had to tour for it, of course. Yeah. So I said, no, I don't want to quit, and I can't quit now. We have a new album, and my passion is still intact. So yeah, it was a very big mourning to do for me. A lot of grief and a big mourning to do. I think that was maybe the saddest day for me in the Benighted experience.
But how do you deal with that? I mean, when a co-founder quits, and maybe in a band it's easier. I don't know if you got kind of like a contract, because I assume labels don't want to lose band members in between their contracts, right? I can imagine my two co-founders in my company, and I know it's pretty different, but it might be the same. We've known each other since we were 10, right? So same story.
It's the same.
None of us has quit, but it would be really painful. But then again, in our case, we got a partner's agreement, right? And there's a contract, and then there's kind of like a lot of things to go here and there, right? How did it work in a band? Like, because I assume you split money, you got the rights of the songs, who wrote which song? How does that work when a permanent member or even a founder of a band leaves?
Well, as the royalties, for example, half of the band and not the individual, it's not a problem. And all the songs that Olivier wrote, he keeps receiving money for them. So it wasn't actually a problem. Everything went very simply because there were, in the contract with Season of Mist, there was no clause that specified by the members had to stay in the band. change members, it's no problem as long as they have me, the vocal identity of the band, it's okay. And it was more on a personal level, but it was very difficult. Financially talking or politically talking, everything was very easy and smooth. We had no problem with that.
And let's wrap it up by asking you about the brie, right? I mean, your famous scream.
Yeah.
There's this thing for the audience who will not know this, because there are people, who are, I'm pretty sure nobody listening to extreme death metal listens to this podcast, but they will from now on, right? And there's this in your sector, in your genre of music, right? There's these kind of super high pitched screams. There's brutal death metal, like oscillates between super deep growls and then like this. I cannot do the high pitched screams, right? How do you learn how to sing with this, and how do you you took lessons, I guess, but what do you do in order not to fuck up your voice forever?
Well, at first I never took any lessons for that. I just learned by myself in my car most of the time, because people maybe not know, but this kind of vocal practice, when you do it at home, you have to have very tolerant neighbors because it's very loud and it's noise. It's noise. I mean, for example, my vocals, because I think most of the people don't know what I'm talking about. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main kind of vocal. The first
Can we
one,
go through them? Can you demonstrate the 5 of them?
I can. So the first one is death metal, pretty high, pretty low. It's then I've got the high pitch, which is and something more hardcore. It's
that's pretty hard.
And then the last one, the big squeal. And
that one is the brie.
Benighted. That's the brie.
How did the brie story come about? Just because you're French.
It came pretty stupidly, because I realized that I was doing the this kind of voice. Yeah. And when for some words where there's E inside, when I wanted to go down the E, it really sounds like a pig that you get. I was like, that's very funny. Let's use that as a gimmick. And some singers were trying to get close to that with inhaling vocals, but I only exhale to do the screams.
I inhale. Can you do it exhaling? I thought it was inhaling all the time.
I don't know. Everything is exhale.
I inhale to do the high pitched. So that's, oh my God.
Lots of people inhaling, but I do everything by exhaling, including my pig squeal. And that's why, for me, when I sing, every kind of vocals I do are using my fake vocal cords, not the spoken vocal cords, but the fake one above, who are more like huge membranes to protect the spoken vocal cords. And I went to a doctor, a throat doctor, who put a camera in my throat, and he told me, well, your vocal cords are safe because you don't use them when you scream. And that's also why I can do all my screams, as you saw, without any warm-up and without hurting myself. I mean, I could be totally mute because of a cold. I can still do my...
Oh my God.
It's a great comfort for a singer, trust me.
It's a great comfort. I love karaoke, and then I fucking destroy my voice because I don't know how to sing properly. And, and sometimes I go for a growling style. And it's like, no, not gonna happen. The next day, I don't.
With this kind of techniques, you're pretty safe. Of course, at first it hurts a bit. It's like a new muscle. You have to get used to it. So of course, at first it's pretty painful, but then you're safe.
Yeah. For our audience, don't try without an adult and supervision because you might fuck up your vocal cords. Last minute for you, Julien, anything you want to share with the audience? Talk about Obscene Repressed, talk about the new single, something we need to know about Benighted.
Sure, thank you. First, thanks. It was a pleasure to see you, Àlex, and talk to you for this hour. And for people who don't know us, maybe you can try to listen to our new album, Obscene Repressed, and all the beautiful love story about schizophrenia that's behind. Because I'm a nurse, but I'm a nurse in psychiatry, so everything has to do with psychiatry and the Benighted lyrics. And I hope that you will enjoy your Halloween, your upcoming Halloween, and that you will also enjoy this beautiful song taken from Nightmares in Elm Street.
Is there any, so what's the most accessible song you've written that might be on Spotify for people who are not into this genre of music? I think none of them, right? But what would be the most, like the softest song you've put out?
Maybe Smile Then Bleed. It's a pretty slow one. Oh, maybe no. On the last album, you have The Starving Beast, which is not too speed and pretty easy to understand, I think.
Okay, perfect. All right, we can do that here. Straight through.
Thank you, Àlex. You too.
Benighted.
See you soon, brother.
Thank you to all our audience, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.